I'll have to admit, when I read the news about what's going on in Texas regarding cryptocurrency, I was shocked. I really thought the people of Texas were smarter than this. You have people on the far right and people on the far left standing together to run a scam on the people of Texas. Now, for those of you who haven't heard, I have alleged in the past that Bitcoin is just a new mobster scheme. It's just modern day piracy. And I have a great deal of proof for this. It's one of the greatest bait and switch scams that I've ever seen. They said it was going to be untraceable and anonymous, and you wouldn't have to worry about government intervention. You wouldn't have to worry about big price swings. You wouldn't have to worry about people knowing your business. Well, all that has been proven wrong. The government can track it. There's huge price swings up and down. It's not anonymous. And it's accepted virtually nowhere. You have to convert it to dollars to do anything with it. And I also said the government is coming. This is, of course, a scene from the series Black Sails. 4 seasons, I've recommended everyone watch this because they basically told the story of cryptocurrency in a nutshell. The government's coming. Some people say, why do you reference things that are just out of Hollywood? Well, this told a real true story. 1715, the West Indies. The pirates of New Providence Island threatened maritime trade in the region. The laws of every civilized nation declare them hostis humani generis, enemies of all mankind. See, these pirates tried to make their own little fiefdom down basically in the Bahamas and Cuba back in the 1700s. And the English and the Spanish and the French finally had enough, and they had to go out and go down there and clear them out. They trafficked in guns, they trafficked in drugs, and they trafficked in people. Even though they were largely romanticized, what they did was really, really ugly. The black market is a great place to make money fast, but it's no place to live. But Florida Maquis, you don't understand. The blockchain is here to stay. So is crime. So is crime. There's always been criminals. There always will be criminals. There have been money-making scams and schemes since the Bible times, really. But what am I talking about? Feds seize $3.6 billion in stolen Bitcoin. Arrest New York City couple in DOJ's largest crypto bust to date. How is that possible? I didn't think you could trace it to people. Federal authorities seized 3.6 in stolen Bitcoin and arrested a couple in Manhattan on Tuesday in what's considered the Justice Department's largest financial cryptocurrency bust to date. Ilya Lichtenstein, 34, and his wife, Heather Morgan, 31, of New York City, were arrested Tuesday morning in Manhattan for an alleged conspiracy to launder cryptocurrency that was stolen during the 2016 hack of Bitfinex, a virtual currency exchange, presently valued at approximately $4.5 billion. So not only were the exchanges hacked, which wasn't supposed to happen, all of that can be traced to the people. How is this any different? Thus far, law enforcement has seized $3.6 billion in crypto linked to that hack. You see, this was a criminal act by criminals. So all they have to do is declare whatever you're doing with your cryptocurrency criminal, and they can come take it from you. They've just shown you they have the tools. In a futile effort to maintain digital anonymity, the defendants laundered stolen funds through a labyrinth of cryptocurrency transactions. Thanks to the meticulous work of law enforcement, the department once again showed how it can and will follow the money no matter what form it takes. And that's all you need to know about that. But what does this have to do with Texas? Sorry about that. Cryptocurrency miners rush to Texas, but why? That's the key. Working to turn Austin into a Bitcoin mining capital as power grid stability is in question. You see, they say they're going to bring balance, but they're just pinky swearing they'll shut off the rigs if there's ever an issue with the grid. See, that's what they don't tell you here in this. Sorry about that. Having a little bit of an issue with my computer. And they even admit it in this article from KVUE. Driving into one of the largest Bitcoin mining facilities in North America, we didn't know what to expect. The building is 1,050 feet long and 60 feet wide, said Riot Winston CEO Chad Harris. You don't see this in Bitcoin mining. Now, wait until you hear the numbers. See, this is going to blow your mind. This will absolutely blow your mind. Quote, if I sent $20 in Bitcoin to you, it requires approximately the amount of electricity that an American household will use in an entire month. And that's right from a Texas A&M professor. This one place in Austin, 100,000 machines. And the power generation needed isn't static because they have to solve the complex math problems that give the ledger its security, quote unquote security. But it's insane. These machines make 63 Bitcoins a day. That translates to more than 3 million. To do that, the data center needs 300, not kilowatts, megawatts of energy. The problem is that after every coin is made, it's harder to solve that complicated math problem, which leads to demand for more power. To fulfill that need, Riot Winston is expanding, adding enough computers to need another 400 megawatts. That's enough to power a large city in one building. In one building, guys. It's not sustainable. And this quote, we think that the ethos of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain in general fits very well with the state of Texas. Decentralized love, freedom-loving, and kind of outside the box. These are all just buzzwords for scam artists. Freedom-loving, outside the box, disruptive, independent thinking. Yeah. Tell me another one. And here's Cruz and Cornyn. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely just unbelievable. And they admit this down here. Let's see if I can find this. We know that the Texas grid is unstable. Winter storm of February 2021 crippled the Texas power grid, leading to over 240 deaths. You see, they're saying that they have the ability to power down quickly, but it's a pinky swear. There's no regulation. Cryptocurrency mining isn't regulated in Texas, so there's no rule forcing miners to turn off. What do you think is going to happen to the rates of electricity in Texas for everyone? They're going to skyrocket. And people are going to pay more and pay more and pay more to support these pirates. They're even trying this in Miami, money for nothing. And that's really the key here. Money for nothing. What you have is a bunch of drug addicts that can't pass a drug test, can't get a real job. And so they need to find a way to make money to support their drug habit. So they use crypto. That's basically the story here. Long story short, it's a scam to make money to support people's drug habits. Speaking of drug habits, this happened 100 years ago. You see, when people got tired of seeing starving women, starving children on the streets, why? Because the men who went out and earned the money would take their money and blow their entire paychecks on booze. They banned alcohol. And that's what led to the speakeasy. And, of course, Hollywood romanticized the speakeasy. They showed people in these nice suits, and everybody's all got a nice dress on, and they've got all the really cool liquor bottles. They don't tell the real story. These speakeasies were run by the mob. You see, these were people that didn't want to work either. The mob. They didn't like the idea of paying taxes. By the way, that's how they got most of them. Tax evasion. See, they wanted to live off other people too, just like the crypto pirates want to live off the people of Texas. They want to suck off their power grid and destroy it in the process, driving up electricity rates for everyone. This is what these mobsters did. Some people have clutched their pearls, so to speak, at some of the images. Comparatively speaking, see, this is earlier than the 1920s, actually, 1919. How these individuals are dressed, comparatively speaking, comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, far worse than anything I've ever shown. And if you think these good old days were the good old days, women were basically still property at this time. They could not speak in the church. They could not vote. The legal age of consent was generally 14, but in many other places it was less. You could not even make a court case without the permission of your husband or your father. You went from one to the other. So believe me, there's nothing new under the sun. This is just a reiteration. And they had their own little currencies too, their own little ways of trading value back then that they thought were decentralized and not in government control. And it was a bloodbath. See, they show this stuff in black and white. You don't see the real up close and graphic. Everybody thinks, Machine Gun Kelly and all these guys are so cool. It wasn't cool. It was horrible. They had a good reason for banning booze back then. But they realized, of course, you ban it, and then the mobsters take over. And they didn't have the ability to deal with the mobsters. And so, generation after generation after generation of alcoholic and alcoholism. As a result of this, the idea was right. The way they went about it was wrong. But they're coming. If you're still in cryptocurrency and you think you're a good person anyway, you're basically just 1 or 2 degrees away from a mobster at this point. Anybody holding and or using cryptocurrency for anything is just a couple of degrees away from a mobster or a pirate, however you want to look at it. Watch black sales. See if you don't see some really strange parallels between how they've operated and how the Bitcoin scammers have operated. And once again, how could they do this? How could they do this? All they have to do is declare your cryptocurrency illegal or what you're doing with it illegal, and they can come get it. That's all they have to do. Is it a stable investment? Well, clearly not. It was way up, and then it went way down, and now it's starting to recover a little bit, but it's going to go down again. And a lot of people don't realize, and it's the ignorance factor too. Just like with alcohol back then, it was the ignorance factor. The guys getting drunk the first few times didn't realize what they were doing to their bodies. They didn't realize what was coming down the road. And a lot of people today don't realize how much electricity gets ripped off of the grid by these guys. And how rates are going to necessarily have to skyrocket to keep up with this in Texas. If you're a Texan and you understand this, you should probably start raising hell with Cornyn and with Cruz. Otherwise, something really bad's coming for you. I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys tonight on Twitch.